the audience participation part of the show. If any of you, we're going to do this Whose Line style. If anyone has a good quotation, shout it out. I'll give you. Show me the money. Any more? All right. Do you know who that's attributed to? Fair enough. I haven't seen that movie. I apologize. All right. My lovely coach, Karen Morris, is going to be giving me some time signals.
You ready?
I guess so.
Let's start your correct time counting.
In the 2009 Disney Pixar movie Up, the character Carl attaches thousands of balloons to his home and flies up into the air in order to get to his favorite South American location, Paradise Falls. However, at the beginning of the movie, you'd be skeptical to believe that Carl could actually attach thousands of balloons to his home and get his home airborne. And people around him tell him that, hey, you're crazy. However, Carl proves them wrong, and he does eventually make it to Paradise Falls. But it's this idea that we as humans need to see things proven that we can see in today's quotation by Jerry Maguire, that movie I haven't seen, which reads, "Show me the money." Now the thought we can take from Mr. Cruz's quotation here today is we do need to see things proven, much as Jerry Maguire wanted to actually see the money before assumingly making an important investment of some kind. But the thought we can take from this is that we do need to see things proven, and we can see this through two distinct lines of analysis. First, because skepticism is inherent in our society, but second, because we are often visual learners. The first that we can see today in which we do need to see things proven, we need to see that money, is because, well, skepticism is inherent in our society, and we can see this through two examples. First, director Frank Capra in It's a Wonderful Life, and second, NFL running back Arian Foster. First, Frank Capra and It's a Wonderful Life. Now, when the movie It's a Wonderful Life first came out, director Frank Capra was so proud of his work, and he released the movie, and it was a failure at the box office. Nobody went to see it. It got great reviews, and critics liked it. However, nobody went to see this movie. Now, of course, it's a classic today. How did it get that way? Well, people were skeptical that Frank Capra could ever turn this apparently crappy movie into a classic. But Frank Capra wanted to prove everyone wrong. So he pitched his movie to TV networks, to studio execs. He just kept working at it until eventually PBS picked up the movie when it fell into the public domain. They played it every Christmas, eventually it shifted to NBC. Now we see It's a Wonderful Life on TV every year at Christmas time, and it is a holiday classic. Because skepticism is inherent, people doubted that Frank Capra could ever make it work. However, he worked hard and it did. People saw that that was proven. We can also see this through NFL running back Arian Foster. Now, Arian Foster is now a successful running back with the Houston Texans. However, he started out his NFL career in a much more auspicious way. When Arian Foster was closing out his college career, he was a highly valued draft prospect. They thought he'd go pretty high in the draft. However, at the media day, when the media and different coaches from different teams would talk to him, Arian Foster demanded that all of his interviews be conducted in pterodactyl. And yes, he actually ran around the room making pterodactyl noises. That really happened. Now, because of this mistake, Arian Foster did not go drafted, as teams didn't want a crazy person on their team. And people were skeptical of Arian Foster. They said, well, this kid had a lot of talent. Now he's not going to be able to make it in the NFL. Arian Foster wanted to prove that skepticism wrong. So, cleaned up his act a little bit, presumably got a new agent, and the next year got picked up by the Houston Texans. A couple of injuries later, Arian Foster is now a star running back in the National Football League. Because skepticism is inherent, and people doubted him. He wanted to prove them wrong, showing that we need to see things proven. So not only do we as humans need to see things proven, as Jerry Maguire said, show me the money, not only because skepticism is inherent, but also because we are often visual learners. And we can see this through two further examples. First, the classic television series Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Second, the voyage of the British ship, the Challenger. First, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Now in this classic fantasy sci-fi television series, the character of Buffy Summers in Sunnydale, California, has, for some reason unbeknownst to the audience, been chosen to kill vampires as a career. And I mean, she does pretty well at it. She has to battle high school drama and killing vampires at the same time, but eventually, the vampires outnumber Buffy and she needs help to back her up on killing these vampires. So, she recruits her friends, lets them in on her little secret. But the way that Buffy's friends are able to get in on the action and help out Buffy in killing these vampires is not by sitting down in a lecture hall, much like this one, with a classroom discussion. Buffy's friends go out and watch her actively stake vampires. Because we are visual learners, they picked up on this action, and eventually they're able to help Buffy out later in the series, and help her out quite a bit indeed. But we can also see that we are visual learners through the voyage of the British ship, the Challenger. Now, when the Challenger, which is a British ship, was commissioned in the late 18th century, it was odd for a British ship because its purpose wasn't to blow up other ships. The British had a formidable navy at the time, but that is not what the Challenger was for. The Challenger was for scientific exploration, which, believe it or not, was a crazy thing back in the 18th century. However, the Challenger was one of the first ships to map a primitive sea floor depth map by lowering a length of rope with a rock attached to the bottom, then pulling it up and measuring how much was wet. Very primitive techniques indeed, but it worked. And other colonies, other nations, were able to visually see the ship exploring the seas as it made its trips to port and various other islands, and they learned from this experience. They were visual learners. They had to see things proven, but they saw, hey, this is an opportunity for us to explore the oceans and increase our knowledge. That's exactly what they did. And as we know today, obviously scientific knowledge has increased since the 18th century. So through Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the voyage of the British ship, the Challenger, we saw that we need to see things proven because we're also visual learners. So, in returning to today's quotation, thank you for the suggestion, Show Me the Money by Jerry Maguire, we saw that we do need to see things proven, much like Jerry Maguire needed to see that money. We saw that first because skepticism is inherent in our lives, but also because we are visual learners. So, in returning to Up, when the character of Carl attached thousands of balloons to his home and flew up into the air, people and viewers alike thought he was probably a crazy old man. However, he proved all of them wrong.